So, good afternoon and a happy anniversary on our 54th Independence Day. So, I know already people seeing that title are getting agitated and emotional. Please hear me out, relax, let's have a chat. Let me explain my points. And I must start by saying I know some people were expecting me to be at State House, but I'm not there. Not that I'm protesting. No, I'm not protesting. It is just that for me, these long processions are not for me. I don't like, these gatherings where you take too much time, and those things are just not for me. So even some of you, if you would want to invite me for anything, either a wedding or something like that, just know that I am not so much a person of these big crowds and processions, formality. I just don't like. I don't like being in one place for too long. Being in one place for too long. This, that. I get bored. I get bored stiff. I want you to know, people. I get bored stiff. Even some of these churches, where you go, this pastor comes, this pastor, nothing. That is not for me. That is not for me. Even at the prayer meetings, I do attend the prayer meetings, like the National Day of Prayer. I did attend, but as soon as my cup of prayer was full, I left, because I don't like prolonging things for too long. So that's why I'm not at State House. It's basically that. Not that I'm protesting, no, but I am celebrating today's Independence Day. But let me now get into my discussion of today. Basically, I am discussing the Independence Day, and I strongly feel that the Machiavelli type of politics that Hakainde Hichilema and the UPND are practicing are actually threatening the independence of this country. But before I come to that, let me start by saying that I think it's high time. Let me discuss first of all independence. I think it is high time that we change the way we look at independence. Most of the times we discuss independence in terms of being liberated from the colonial masters and gaining our liberties. Yes, I mean, that is what independence is all about. Yes, indeed. But I think we cannot continue, dwelling on that. Freedom fighters. Come on. That time is gone. And thank you, not that I'm in any way diluting the work that the freedom fighters did. I'm not diluting that. But I think, we need to evolve, in the way that we look at independence. Because some of these freedom fighters that we talk about, most of them are even dead. They are accountable freedom fighters that are still alive. And I still bemoan their welfare at this point in time, because really a lot of our freedom fighters have not been looked after properly. So that is the only thing that I can appeal to society, that we need to look after these freedom fighters in a better manner as people that contributed to this country, other than what is happening, because some of them are really beggars and they are suffering. I don't think that is very, very good when we celebrate this day. We need to appreciate those that fought for independence. But I want us to move away from that kind of, perception of independence. I want us to start looking at independence as, in a more of a patriotism kind of, okay, as a sovereign state, as patriots, as Zambians. Today is the day that this country was born, and we should be looking at ourselves, asking ourselves to say, I'm a Zambian. What is it that I've done for this country? What is it that needs to be done in this country? Where is this country? Where are we going with this country? I would want us to start asking those kind of questions and start identifying those people who are doing something for this country now. Who are doing something for this country now, because it is continuous. Independence is continuous. It's not something that you attain one day and it's finished. It's continuous. And as it is continuous, there are people who are fighting for the liberties of this country. There are people who are fighting for liberties of this country. And some of you are actually fighting for the liberties of this country. You are still fighting for democracy. You are still fighting for for economic liberties. You are still fighting for social liberties. You are still fighting for generally the welfare of everybody in this country. A lot of you are doing that. A lot of people are doing that. So why don't we shift our mind from, dwelling so much on the freedom fighters, and start looking at ourselves. We are freedom fighters. We are freedom fighters, and we are supposed to be fighting for freedom. And this is why, for me, this independence, if I were to give it a theme, I would say, be patriotic and fight for the sovereignty of this country. Because we need to be current. So that is my theme. For me, this independence, my theme is be patriotic and fight for the economic sovereignty of this country. I will repeat that. Be patriotic and fight for economic sovereignty of this country, because our economic sovereignty is at risk, and you will see how I will connect with why I've mentioned Hakainde Hichilema in this instance. It is not that I just like mentioning Hakainde Hichilema. No, my theme is connected to the Machiavelli kind of politics that Mr. Hakainde Hichilema is doing. You see, at every stage of life, there are different challenges. At every stage of life, there are different challenges. Things are different. So, at the time of independence in the 1960s, early 60s, people wanted liberties. They wanted to get free so that they can be able to vote, so that they can be recognized as Zambians. That is what they were fighting for at that time. And they did it. We say congratulations to that. And we commemorate them today. After independence, Kaunda came in to try as much as he could, to make the Zambians happy, to make the Zambians feel, yeah, Chalo Cheso, we own this country. And that's why he implemented policies such as the social policies, where, a lot of things were given free to Zambians. And at that point, I think it was okay, because even the population was not much. The population was very little. I think we're talking about a population of 5-6 million. Very few people. And indeed, President Kenneth Kaunda did very well to make our parents feel we own this country. This is our country. Okay? And that's why so many things were free. I think Kaunda was trying to, respond to the circumstances, to the issues that were prevailing at that time. He was responding to the issues that were prevailing at that time. Thereafter, we had Chiluba coming in. Chiluba came in with the issue of privatization, liberalization. Of course, he was also answering to the issues at that point in time. At that time, the issue at that time was to make business, to turn this country into a business country where people business can thrive. That's why he brought in liberalism. Okay, he wanted business to thrive. Now we are in another era. We are in another era. And this era in which we are, we need to identify what are the challenges. What are the challenges? And you know, when I was doing IT, one of you know, the issues that we every day we were being told was that in IT, if you want to find a solution, you need to find the problem first. And the biggest issue was to troubleshooting, finding what the problem is. That is the main issue. For those who have done IT, they will tell you the big portion to finding a solution is finding the problem. Once you find the problem, then you can find the solution. The solution only counts for about 30%. 70% is about finding the problem. And at this point in time, we have got challenges as a country. We have got challenges, no doubt about it. No one is disputing that. We have challenges in this country. The issue is, what are the challenges that we have? And we need to identify those challenges. Unless we find what the problems are, we cannot find solutions. We cannot find solutions. And a good leader is one who identifies problems first of a country. What are the problems of this country? The moment you miss it on what the problem is, then you will not find the solution, because your solutions will be in disarray, will be missing the point. You need to find the solution. You need to find the problem. What is the problem? Once you find the problem, then you can find the solution. And unfortunately, we're talking about you know, the country, you know, the well-being of this country. At the moment, the problem that we have is that most of us don't really know what the problem of this country is. Most of us, we don't know. And we are hearing so much from people like Hakainde Hichilema who think that the problem of this country is one person, and that person is Edgar Lungu. You are missing it. You are missing it. If you can't identify the solution, the problem of this country, you can't find the solution. And for you citizens, what you need to do is to find who is able to pinpoint what the problems of this country are. Once you find that person who is able to point at the problems of this country, then that's a leader. If you find a person that is failing to identify the problems of this country, then you have lost it. You have lost it. You have lost it. Even if you put that leader into power, he will not liberate this country. He will not help you. What are the problems of this country? Many of you like saying, things are not okay. Things are not okay. What are things? What are those things which are not okay? Can we pinpoint those problems? And when you listen to Hakainde Hichilema, for Hakainde Hichilema, the problem of this country is Edgar Lungu. That is the problem. Remove Edgar Lungu, put HH, all the problems are done. Is that true? Is that realistic? Is that realistic? Let's just think for a moment. Let's just think for a moment. Hakainde Hichilema, for him, the problems of this country, it's Edgar Lungu. We get rid of Edgar Lungu, everything is okay. Is that true? If you really are an objective person, is that true? Should we remove Edgar Lungu and the problems our problems are sorted out? Just by putting HH there, the problems are sorted out. My brothers and sisters, we should be realistic. We should be realistic. We should be patriotic to this country. We should be patriotic to this country. We should not be emotional. We should not be emotional. We are too emotional. And I do understand where the emotions are coming from. Because when you are stressed, when you are struggling, when you are a youth, you don't have employment. You don't have employment. So life is not so easy for you. So you get emotional. And you know, when you are emotional, believe you me, when you are emotional, you are also vulnerable. An emotional person is a very vulnerable person. Once you are emotional, you become vulnerable. You become vulnerable, you expose yourself. And somebody can take advantage of you. Somebody can take advantage of you. Somebody can abuse you. Somebody can lead you into more problems. More problems. So, the best thing that we need to do is to, dilute our emotions. Let's dilute our emotions. Let's be a little bit, reasonable and objective. Is Edgar Lungu the only problem that we have? Remove Edgar Lungu, then we are sorted out. Mind you, I'm not talking like this because I'm supporting Edgar Lungu. No, far from it. My campaign for presidency is very serious. You might think that I'm joking. No, I'm not joking. I mean it. I want to become president of this country, and I mean it. I'm very, very serious. And I'm not PF. I'm Economic and Equity Party president, and I want to be president one day. But in my travel, in my journey to presidency, I want to be realistic. I want to be reasonable. I want to be patriotic. I don't want to mess up this country for me to be president. That is not patriotism. That is not patriotism. I don't want to dent this country so bad so that I can be voted into power. That is not patriotism. And I will come to that towards the end because I want to deal with that. But I think the point that I want to bring at this point in time is, what is Zambia's problems? My brothers and sisters, Zambia's problems, the number one thing, we can say we have got economic challenges, we have got social challenges, and we have got social challenges, and we have got political challenges. Okay, we have our problems in this country. We have got social problems, we have got economic problems, we have got political problems, and we have got threats. Okay, we have got threats. We have got threats. So I am discussing I'm putting my discussion today, five points. Number one point is that I want to discuss the social problems. Number two, I want to discuss economic problems. Number three, I want to discuss political problems. Number four, I want to discuss what are our threats as a country. What are our threats as a country? Number five, what is our focus? And let me dive into it right away. Social problems. My brothers and sisters, we are Zambians. We are Zambians. And we sing the national anthem, Stand and Sing of Zambia, Proud and Free. But how much of us is Zambian? How much of us is Zambian? How much have we branded ourselves as Zambians? How much have we branded ourselves as Zambians? Most of us, we are Gonga Zambians. Most of us, we are Gonga Zambians. We are not really Zambians. We are Zambians by birth. We are Zambians by documentations. We are Zambians by point of residence. Otherwise, we are not Zambians. We need to inculcate that nationalism in ourselves. We need that. We need, when we say, I'm Zambian, you must be branded as Zambian. You are saying you are Zambian, but your brand is nothing of Zambian. Your brand is nothing of Zambian. How much of you is Zambian? How much of you is Zambian? And I say this including myself. I am a Zambian, but believe you me, I've got my children. Most of my children, when you meet them, they speak English. They don't know Bemba. They don't know. They don't know any local language. I don't mind them. They may not even know Bemba, but at least let them know one local language. A number of times when we go out to some of these countries, I wish, I want to say something private to my children. And I want to say, I wish I would say it in a local language. But since we use English, it is difficult. It is difficult, I mean, I remember especially when we went to, to Dubai. It was very difficult for me to communicate with my children privately, because, that was a total different environment. And in certain times you want to tell your child to say, hey, don't do that, without raising the attention of everybody. And you want to do it in a way that, in a language that others will not understand. But because my children can't speak any local language, we rely on English. We couldn't do that. We couldn't do that. In this country, most of us have gone Western. We have gone Western. What is Western is what is nice. We brag when we have something that is imported. We brag when we have something that is not from Zambia. We are branding ourselves in the Western way. We are branding ourselves as foreigners, not as Zambian. And it has a lot to do with how we operate. Before you start stoning Chinese and other foreigners and so on and so forth, I mean, look at yourselves. How much of you is Zambian, such that you compel others to follow in your traditional way, in your culture? We have already lost our culture. And so this is why foreigners are coming in this country and imposing their culture on us. They are imposing their culture on us because we don't have a culture. We have lost our culture. It goes a long way in attaining, that development as a nation. If you can't brand yourselves as Zambians, it is very difficult for you to develop this country, because you will follow other cultures and you will develop other people other than yourselves. Number one, like I've said, in schools, what are we teaching our children in schools? Are we teaching them really something about Zambia? What about in our interaction? How much are we interacting as Zambians? How much are we really, putting there to show that, yes, we are Zambian? When you talk about tourism, I mean, tourism is about people coming to see your culture, your environment, your livelihood different from theirs. That is what agriculture, that is what tourism is all about. They come from wherever they are to come and see how you live, to come and see how you interact with each other. But if everything is the same, if everything is like Britain, I mean, how do you expect the British to come into this country and see what? Pay for what? Because everything is the same. You need to change. So when we talk about tourism, diversification into tourism, we need to see how much we change our culture. When we talk about our villages, when we talk about our chiefs, now our chiefs, I mean, a lot of our chiefs have also become so modernized, such that you see very little of tradition in them. They feel good. One of these chiefs I met in one of these areas, I found that chief, he has changed, he has bleached his skin. He has bleached his skin and he's a chief, and he dresses really just, I was like, really? Where is our identity? Where is our identity? Where is our Zambian? As you celebrate the independence, the birth of Zambia today, my challenge to you in terms of social life, I'm challenging you to say how much of you is Zambian? How much of you is Zambian? How much of your children is Zambian? How much of your environment is Zambian? We need to look at that. That is a social aspect, and for me, there is a problem. I'm glad that the PF government, particularly Edgar Lungu, the PF government started it. He brought teaching, in schools. He brought local languages, that the lower grades, they should teach them in local languages. That is a welcome move. That is something that is positive. That is something that is positive. I like that. And even when I become president, I will pursue that kind of policy. That policy is very good. When Edgar Lungu came in, he also, emphasized the national guidance. The national guidance and religious, though they have messed it up with the religious, but the national guidance part is very good. National guidance is very good, and it's a good policy. Even when Economic and Equity Party comes into power, we will pursue that. The issue of making people, sensitizing people about this country, the heritage of this country, the monuments of this country is very good. That one must be supported, and I am happy with it. The challenge that is there, which I see, is that that ministry is not really being taken care of so much. There is an overemphasis on the religious side other than the national guidance. I wish that ministry could look at the issue of national guidance seriously, because we are doing very little of that. Imagine a minister who is supposed to be an identity of a country is number one putting Zazu in the hair, dressing like like a Westerner, dressing like a Westerner, dressing a mean. Where is the national guidance? Where is the national guidance? The way Dora, I must mention, I need to point out, I don't like beating about the bush. The way Dora dresses, where is the national guidance? Where is the national identity there? They have to be, when you see a minister, those are the icons of the country. Those are the people that should show us what it means to be Zambian, how a Zambian should look like. Not you have a minister and is looking like she's in Hollywood. This is not Hollywood. This is Zambia, my goodness, for goodness sake. We need to change. These are the problems. I'm identifying problems that we have, which we need to change for us to move forward as a country. And that is on the social aspect. I think let me move on because I've discussed too much on the social aspect. I'm sure you've gotten the point. Let me take a sip of this Coke. Yes. Let me move on to the economic aspect. On the economic aspect, this country today, when you hear what is being peddled, especially by the opposition, and I don't want to beat about the bush, just mention the opposition, there is only one big problem, opposition, the UPND. These people, when they are discussing the economy of this country, they are making this country to look so bad. They are making this country to look so bad. And I want to tell you that this country is not as bad as it is being portrayed. It is not as bad as it is being portrayed. That is a fact. By the fact that, or at an individual level, you don't have money, by the fact that at an individual level you don't have money, that should not make you, generalize it and say, oh, this country is so bad and so on and so forth. The moment you are generalizing to say you don't have money and you are generalizing to say, there is no money, there is no money. You know what is happening at that time? At that very time, there is somebody that is buying a car, a brand new vehicle. There is somebody who is buying a car, a brand new vehicle, and he's not buying a brand new vehicle at 1,000. He's buying a vehicle worth 100,000. He's doing that. You see? When you're complaining to say, no, this country, no, this what it is, I saw one civil society, I saw, I'm sorry, I have to mention names. I don't want to I don't like discussing things in obscurity. I saw Pamela's posting yesterday. This country will grind to a halt, will grind to a halt very soon. Where are you coming from? Where are you coming from? Your personal frustrations, don't lump them on, don't generalize them. Don't generalize your personal problems onto the country. Don't do that. You are broke, say I am broke. If I am broke myself, I say I am broke. I don't say everyone is broke. No. No. When these singers come, I mean, last time they had the singer here and they were paying, is it Kofi? People were paying 1,000, 1,500. And people paid, bought tickets to go and watch. Yesterday there was supposed to be a function somewhere. And the tickets were sold. They were selling at 300. They were sold. So what are you talking about? What are you talking about when you say, hey, there is no money? No. It's true, you don't have, some people don't have money, and majority don't have money. It's true. That is a fact. But don't generalize it. Don't generalize it. Look at your problem. Why don't I have money? How do you expect to have money when you are not doing anything? How do you expect to have money? And because you don't have money, you are hungry, you are not doing anything, you want to blame it on the country. You want to blame it on Edgar Lungu. I don't think it works out like that. The biggest problem really that we have is that we are generalizing. From our individual challenges, we are putting it like it's everywhere. It is not true. What you're saying is not true. Go to Chalala. Chalala is fill up with houses. People are building there. Go to, even in other towns, Chingola, even in Chinsali. I was in Chinsali. People are building. So where are you basing? And what I'm talking about is not like fictitious. It is indicated in the economic indicators. When you hear that they are talking about Zambia's growth rate being at 4%, it is those houses that you are seeing. It is those buildings that you are seeing. That is what is accounting for that growth rate. So Zambia is not in the negative. Zambia is in the positive. And positive, not positive one. Like South Africa. Because South Africa, I think growth rate is just about 1.7 at the moment. Things have stuck in South Africa. Things are not moving so well in South Africa. But Zambia is moving. Zambia is moving. The world growth rate average is about 3.9. It's about 3.9. That is world growth rate. That is world growth rate. It's about 3.9. And I don't know if you, basically, I like to simplify things. When you hear growth rate, it's basically, the development that is going on in the country. That is what it means. Growth rate is about the development that is going on in the country. That is what it means. Meaning the roads which are being built, the infrastructure which is being built. That is what accounts for growth rate. And our growth rate at the moment is projected at 4%. That's where it is. The world growth rate is about 3.9. So we are basically not behind. The development that is currently going on in the world, Zambia is not left behind. If you understand me well there is a development. The world is developing. And the world is developing at 3.9%. And Zambia is also developing at about the same rate. So, can you say Zambia is behind? Zambia is not behind. Zambia is not behind. But somebody wants you to believe that Zambia is behind. My brothers and sisters, Zambia is not behind. Zambia is not behind. Zambia is at par with the current development of the world. So we shouldn't be ashamed. There is no reason for us to despair as Zambians. There is no reason. We are moving at par. The development of this country is at par with the development of the world. There is no need to be ashamed. There is no need to start feeling bad that we are Zambians and things are not okay. No, we need to be proud. We are part of the world that is moving forward. Zambia is part of the world that is moving forward. Zambia is not behind. Zambia is moving together with the world. You don't have to be discouraged. When you talk about, other things that you can talk about, for example, the inflation rate. Our inflation rate is now at I think 7.9. 7.9. It's in the single digit. It's not double digit. It's not double digit. Yes, it's not the best. I mean, you would rather have it at 3, 4, somewhere there. But surely, I mean, a lot of other countries are not, doing so better than, are not so much better than ourselves. We don't have to despair. There is no reason to despair. No. Then, let me come to the elephant in the room. The debt stock. The debt stock is, today everyone is talking about the debt. Yes, it is unsustainable. It is unsustainable. At 53% of our GDP, certainly there is cause to worry. At 53% there is cause to worry. But are things grinding to a halt? No. Things are not grinding to a halt. I refuse. Things are not grinding to a halt in this country. Our debt is huge, yes. But you need to understand, where is this debt coming from? Where is this debt coming from? Have we borrowed this money and just wasted it? There is nothing that has come out of that debt. There is nothing that has come out of that debt. Let me give you an example. A little bit of an analogy. You can only borrow as much as you can make. I hope you understand me there. You can only borrow as much as you can make. Meaning, if you are a poor person, you don't make money, who is going to borrow you 1 million kwacha? Just imagine. Who is going to lend you 1 million kwacha? If you are a poor person, like my mother, my mother at the farm, she's very poor. My mother cannot even think of borrowing 10,000 kwacha. She can't even think of it. And who can even give my mother 10,000 kwacha? Who can give her 10,000 kwacha? Not even myself can I do it. She's my mother, but I can never lend her 10,000 kwacha because she can't make it. It is totally out of her range. It is out of her reach. It is out of her reach. But a person who makes money, who borrow 10,000 kwacha, as if he's borrowing 10 kwacha, because he makes money. He has the money. He has a level. It's a higher level. So, when you look at Zambia's debt and start complaining like, what? No. People have lent us that money because they know we can make that money. They know we can pay that money. Otherwise, no one can lend us money. The Chinese, the Western, have lent us money because they know we can pay that money, because they know we are making that money. So don't look at this debt as one way, as a way of this country going back. No, it is showing that this country is moving forward. In the past, Zambia could not borrow to the tune of 15 billion kwacha, to the tune of 9 billion kwacha. It wouldn't borrow because we were not able to make it. That was the money that we were making. But now, our GDP has increased. Our GDP now is at 25 billion. So we are making money now. We are making money. And the people that have given us, that has lent us money, they have not lent us knowing that we will not pay. They have lent us that money. They know we are able to pay it. And indeed, we are able to pay it. We are able to pay it. And this money hasn't just gone to waste. This money has been invested. This money didn't just go to waste. This money has been invested. Don't be cheated. This money has been invested. Yes, there is corruption. Yes, there is corruption. Yes, some of the money has gone into the pockets of people. But this money has brought development in this country. This money has built roads. This money has built hospitals. This money has built the malls that you are seeing around. This money has built houses. This money has built offices. These are the prerequisite of development. These are the prerequisite of development. You can't talk about development when there is no infrastructure in a country. The development that we're talking about is because we have borrowed and we have invested. That's why we are talking about it. We're talking about, the growth rate that we're talking about. Because we have invested. And since we have invested, what we need to do now is to make sure that the investment that we have done in this country is now paying back, is able to pay back. The challenge, my brothers and sisters, is not about how much money we have borrowed. No. The challenge is how we are going to turn that investment into something that will give us dividends. That's something that will give us dividends so that we can even be able to pay back the loans. The people that gave us loans, they knew that we can pay this loan and they know they are comfortable. Those people who gave us the Euro bond, they know we can pay the Euro bond. They know. And we can pay the Euro bond. We will pay the Euro bond, actually. We will pay the Euro bond. We will pay the Euro bond. There is no need to worry. This country is rich. This country has money. We will pay the Euro bond. Believe you me, we will pay the Euro bond. And for that matter, I want to tell you that ever since Zambia became Zambia, we have never defaulted. Never defaulted. We have never defaulted. On any loan, we have never defaulted. Even in the 1980s, when things were down like this, when we were beating each other, when we were rioting, we never defaulted. Why didn't we default? Because Zambia is a rich country. Zambia is a rich country. I can assure you, Zambia is a rich country. Don't be ashamed. Don't feel bad that you belong to a country that is poor. Yes, you may be poor at a personal level, but believe you me, if you work hard, you can turn around things. You can turn around things in this country. This country has opportunities. Don't listen to those people who are making you feel like this country is just the West. No. You can turn around this country. You can turn around things in this country and you can be great. This country is rich. And don't be misled that Zambia will default on the loans. We are okay. Remember what I said. You can only borrow as much as you can make. If we have borrowed this money, it is because we can make it. And if we can make it, we can pay it back. We can pay it back. With Lungu, without Lungu, we can pay it back. And here I'm not discussing a particular president or a particular leadership. I am discussing as Zambians. It is Independence Day, where we are commemorating Zambia's birth. And I'm discussing as a Zambian. Whether Edgar Lungu is there, whether HH is there or not, we are Zambians and Zambia is rich and we will not default on those loans. We will not default on those loans. We will pay those loans. This country is rich. So please don't worry about the debt. Don't let the debt worry you. Don't let the debt worry you. What you should be asking now as Zambians is to say, where have we invested the money? Are we making money out of those roads? Are we making money out of those buildings? Are we making money? Is there something that is coming? Is there a return? Those are the issues that we should be looking at. And remember what I said, that a good leader is one who identifies the problem. And the problem, like I'm telling you, is not the loans. The problem is, how are we going to pay back the loans? How are we going to make the investment yield the intended results? How are we going to do that? That is our preoccupation. So if there is a good leader should start thinking to say, yes, we have this beautiful road, but how is it contributing to the economy? How is it going to pay back? How is it going to pay back for the loans that we used to build it? This building, how is it going to pay back? These are the issues that we are supposed to be talking about. And as we discuss that, we will be able to create employment. We'll be able to create employment. When we start looking around to say, how are we going to make money? How are we going to make money? We will realize to say, okay, here we need a cantemba. Okay, to need a cantemba, we need somebody to be there. And you find that somebody will be employed. Okay, on this road, yes, now Aletama toll gates. We need a toll gate. Somebody will be employed to be collecting money there. Oh, on this road, we need a filling station. They will build a filling station. And that filling station, they will employ people there. That is how it works. That is how it works. So let us take advantage of the investment that has come in this country and see how we can make money. And in the process, we will be able to create employment. You will be able to create employment. And that is what will give you a livelihood. That is what will give you, economic independence. It is not HH. It is not Tayali. No. Believe you me. HH can become president today. He will not employ all of you. What will create employment, what will create a livelihood for Zambians is what I'm talking about. Turning around things to make things make money. The investment that we have achieved, that we have gotten out of these loans, turning it around so that we can make money. That is what will change our lives as Zambians. I think I've spoken enough on the economy. I'm sure you have gotten it. And my issue is, if I can summarize on the economy, I'm basically saying you can only borrow as much as you can make. If we have borrowed so much, it means we can make that money. The issue is, if you are suffering, try to see where you can tap in and change your life. Try to see where you can tap in and change the life. Don't listen to Haka in the Hichilema. Don't listen to the politicians. No, they don't have your interest. They want their job and they want to use you. Look around and see how you can tap in and, get something. Okay, so that is about the economy. I've said. Now, the other thing that I've spoken about, the other problem now is the political problem. The political problem. And this political problem, it is a big problem, really. It is a big problem. Democracy has come in this country. Plural politics. It has come and it's very good. Plural politics is good. Democracy is very good. But it has got its downside. And the downside is that, in democracy, everyone is claiming his or her right. Everyone is claiming his or her right. And as human beings, we tend to be selfish. We want to claim more. We want to claim more. We don't stop to say, okay, I've gotten enough. That's it. No, we want more and more and more. And the worst is with the politicians. The politicians want power. We all want power. And we want power not tomorrow. We want power like yesterday. We want power like yesterday. And as such, our focus is only on getting power. That is our focus. That is our focus. Most of the politicians in this country, they are not focusing on anything else. They are not focusing on people. They are focusing on getting power. We all want power. And we don't want to get that power tomorrow. We don't even want to wait for 2021. We don't want. We want to get power tomorrow or yesterday. And this has created a problem. And what is that problem? The problem that it has created is that we are not discussing ideas. We are not discussing on how we can make money on the investment that we have done, on the money that we have borrowed. Hakainde Hichilema, Kachishimba Kambwidi, and the other politicians, they are not discussing how we can make money on the investment that we have done. Instead, what they are discussing is, we have borrowed too much. We have borrowed too much. We have borrowed too much. Zambia is nothing, and so on and so forth. They are not looking at how we can turn around things. They are not looking at people. They are not. And this is a problem. At the moment, we are not looking at finding solutions. We are looking at politics. We want, whatever we are doing, we want power. We want power, power, power. I'll come to focus. I'll come to focus. When I come to focus, I'll tell you. Today, I'm going to tell you about my political plans. I'll tell you about my political plans. I'll tell you, when I come to focus, I'll tell you about my political plans. Today, I'm going to tell you about my political path, so to say. I'll tell you. My primary goal at the moment is not power. What I want now is to save the Zambian people. That's what I want. I am fighting with a number of people because I want them to do the right thing. I want them to do the right thing. I am patriotic. I'm defending. I am so much on Hakainde Hichilema because he is a threat to our independence. And I'm discussing that in the next stage of threats. The problem that we have is that most politicians are not discussing ideas. Most of the politicians are only thinking about politics. They're only thinking about getting power. And they're engaging in all sorts of activities to win power. That is the problem. They are not looking at anything. Everything they are doing, power, 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 power. And it is creating a problem. The citizens are being neglected. The citizens, they just want to use them. They just want to use you as a stepping stone to what they want. But really, it is not about you. It is not about you. It's about them getting power. Because they're supposed to worry about you not having employment today and come up with practical solutions which can create employment for you. That is what is supposed to be happening. Unfortunately, everything that we are doing is about power, 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 power. I'm not for that myself. And of course, this is what is bringing me now to the threats that I'm talking about. We are threatened. There are threats in this country. Like I've said, Zambia is okay. The problem that we have is that we don't want to brand ourselves as Zambians. The number two thing is that we don't want to look at this country with its resources and take chances of what it is offering. The number three is that we are too political. We want power, power, power. Number four now are the threats. The threats that we have, I want to tell you, the threats that we have in this country, the threat that we have is Hakainde Hichilema and UPND. Hakainde Hichilema and UPND. What do I mean? I'm sure you have heard how Hakainde Hichilema speaks. That man is not patriotic. That man is not patriotic. He's not patriotic. He is not patriotic. I wonder if he's a Zambian. Those who doubt Edgar Lungu if he's a Zambian, I think they should extend that doubt to Hakainde Hichilema. Is that man Zambian? That man doesn't sound Zambian in the way that he talks. And even the agenda that is bringing up is not Zambian. This is a man who is going all over, investing so much money in making this country look bad. And you know, I like to speak with facts. Just last week, there was a news item. There was a news package actually. It is like a package which was done for Middle East and Africa. For Middle East and Africa. and listen to what was being broadcasted in the Middle East for Middle East and Africa. Listen to this. The works of Hakainde Hichilema. Why I'm saying that Hakainde Hichilema is a threat to our independence.
Middle East and Africa.
I want you to listen to that. I'll start it again.
Middle East and Africa.
Middle East and Africa.
Zambia.
End
of the road.
End of the road. Did you hear that? You hear that?
Middle East and Africa.
Zambia. End of the road. An increasingly authoritarian regime is pushing Zambia towards a debt crisis.
The cars in Lusaka are moving even more slowly than usual. Hidden speed cameras have spooked drivers in Zambia's capital. The government is desperate for cash, so motorists who speed are being fleeced. The regime has also announced taxes on boreholes, internet calls and even weather reports. The pressure is falling on the ordinary people, complains John Piri, a taxi driver, all because the state has run up too much credit. Concern on the street is mirrored in markets. Of the 75 countries whose bonds make up the Bloomberg Barclays Emerging Markets Index, a basket of sovereign debt, none has performed as badly in 2018 as Zambia. Given crises in Argentina and Turkey, that is some achievement. The market is pricing in a default, notes Gregory Smith of Renaissance Capital, an investment bank. Zambia is therefore a warning for other African countries which also received debt forgiveness in 2005 to 2006, but today find themselves on the verge of another crisis. Zambia's economy made a good start to the century. Growth averaged more than 7% a year from 2000 to 2010, buoyed by high prices for copper, which makes up 80% of exports. The top destination for Zambia's exports is Switzerland, home to Glencore, a commodities trader. The boom meant that aid, which amounted to 57% of national income in 1995, was just 5% by 2010. The boom ended in about 2011. Copper prices fell and growth slowed. The Patriotic Front, or PF, which still rules Zambia, was elected that year. It soon embarked on a spending splurge. As well as new roads, hospitals and airports, the PF has almost doubled the civil service wage bill in real terms and expanded the number of districts from 72 to 115 so as to dole out more patronage. Extra spending has been funded by borrowing. Public debt increased rapidly from 21% of GDP in 2011 to 59% at the end of 2017. Roughly two-thirds of that borrowing is denominated in foreign currency, an ode to Chinese creditors or Western investors who bought its euro bonds, $3 billion worth of dollar bonds issued in Europe. Paying back these debts is putting huge pressure on Zambia's finances. The biggest item in the budget used to be education. Today it is debt service, with nearly a quarter of government spending going to pay back loans. The fiscal deficit for 2018 is set to be more than 9% of GDP. Civil servants were not paid on time last month. When pay was delayed last year, a government spokesperson helpfully recommended that bureaucrats start breeding chickens. Arrears for government contractors are mounting. This in turn is hurting businesses. The share of bad loans on banks' books has increased to 13% from 8% 2 years ago. Zambia is one of 18 African countries the IMF says is at risk of debt distress, double the number in 2013. A further 8 are already in distress, meaning they are delinquent or in default. Yet Zambia is resisting the fund's call for restraint, and relations with it have all but broken down. Talks over a bailout are on ice, and under pressure from Zambia, the IMF has reassigned its representative. It is not as if the money has been well spent. Much has been spent haphazardly or, in some cases, stolen. People are asking, where did all the money go, said Jeffrey Chongo of the Jesuit Center for Theological Reflection, a local charity. One answer is tarmac. Since 2011, Zambia has announced plans to build 9,000 kilometers of roads. Few doubt the need for better infrastructure, but the country has overpaid. A study by the World Bank in 2017 found that Zambia paid $360,000 per kilometre, which is more than twice the African average. And since upkeep has been neglected, many new roads are already potholed. Other deals have been similarly wasteful. Zambia bought 42 fire engines for $1 million each, a 70% markup. And it has regularly paid over the odds for infrastructure built by state-owned Chinese companies. Take the contract for the new airport terminal in Lusaka, known locally as the Hamburger, though it looks more like a bao sandwich, which has been designed to accommodate a rather improbable tenfold increase in passenger traffic. These deals are opaque. Typically, loans are agreed between Zambian government departments and China's Export-Import Bank, which then lends directly to the Chinese contractor. Only later, if at all, are the true costs revealed. Many worry that some deals remain undisclosed and that President Edgar Lungu will hand over state assets such as ZESCO, the energy utility, to China in exchange for debt relief. A Zambian delegation returned last week from Beijing, where it attended the triennial summit of Chinese and African leaders. Many Zambians resent the Chinese influence. Businessmen, for instance, complain that they are locked out of the best contracts. Privately, though, Zambia's elites are more likely to blame their government than the Chinese. Under the PF, governance is weak and venal. Reports from Zambia's Auditor General and the Financial Intelligence Centre, an ombudsman, suggest that corruption has increased markedly under Mr. Lungu's regime. One economist who has studied road deals estimates that 5 to 10% is skimmed off the top. Corruption goes hand in hand with repression. After the election in 2016, which he won amid allegations of rigging, Mr. Lungu jailed the opposition leader Hakainde Hichilema for the crime of not yielding to the presidential motorcade. A critical newspaper was shut down and journalists have been harassed. Mr. Lungu has packed the Constitutional Court with his hand-picked judges and threatened chaos if they do not allow him to run for an unconstitutional third term in 2021. I have been here for 21 years and never seen so many people afraid to speak out, says an academic in Lusaka.
Imagine that.
Zambia has become an authoritarian state. Defenders of Mr. Lungu reckon that Zambia has time on its side. The principal on the first of its 3 euro bonds is not due until 2022. China may extend the terms of its credit, but given the rising debt burden, Zambia cannot go on as it is. Later this month, the government will outline its budget for 2019. Investors in the IMF will be watching to see if there is any sign of change from Mr. Lungu and his cronies. If not, 12 years after the world forgave its loans, Zambia will keep heading towards another debt crisis.
You hear that? And that is 8 minutes. 8 minutes news clip. And most of the things that are in that news clip are the words of Hakainde Hichilema. It's what you hear from Hakainde Hichilema, which are not true. And that's my problem with that man. That's why he's a threat to our independence. Because this man doesn't speak the truth. He doesn't speak the truth. That's a problem. And you say that you keep talking about him. I will keep talking about him like I said yesterday on Radio Phoenix. I will keep talking about Hakainde Hichilema. As long as he keeps lying, I will talk about him to defend my country. Because I want to defend the independence of this country. Hakainde Hichilema, he is able to do such kind of things because he's under pressure. Hakainde Hichilema is under pressure. He has used so much money. He has received so much money from outsiders, from the Westerners. They have funded him so that he can retain power and they can retain the influence, the Western influence on this country. The Anglo-Americans, they want to return to Zambia. You heard in this clip when they started that things were going okay, copper and whatever. But in 2008, 2011, when PF came in, the copper price went down and so on and so forth. How do you blame the copper price dropping on PF? How? Even if you don't like my PF, okay, and I'm not speaking for them, I'm just being objective. How do you blame the dropping of copper prices on PF? Hakainde Hichilema likes most of the times referring to the 7% growth rate of 2011 to the current growth rate, that it is poor leadership. But what Hakainde Hichilema forgets are things that are beyond this government or any government for that matter, such as the copper prices, such as the droughts that we had. If you remember, excuse me, if you remember, we had droughts. Excuse me. We had droughts for about 3 years, which droughts brought the load shedding, that slowed down production. How do you blame that on any government? Even if it's a government of Trump, even if it's a government of Theresa May, how do you blame drought on Theresa May? How? Like what is happening now? In America, we are having catastrophes. The monsoons and the marks and whatever. How do you blame that on a government? How do you blame that on leadership? But these are some of the things that has brought down our growth rate. That is what has brought down our growth rate. Growth rate, for example, at one point we had that recession. It slowed down everywhere. It was not just in Zambia. It has slowed down everywhere. So how do you blame it on the PF? How do you blame it on Edgar Lungu? But that is what that propaganda is doing. I am not speaking for Edgar Lungu. Please, even if it was HH in power and the Edgar Lungu is doing the same thing, I would still defend HH. Because some of these problems, they are beyond, the leadership. They are beyond the leadership. And that propaganda, even just the way it starts, I will play it just the way it is starting.
Middle East and Africa.
Zambia. End of the road.
Imagine that.
An increasingly
Zambia, end of the road. Let me play that thing you hear. An increasing authoritarian, autocratic. It's like Zambia has become a dictator. Zambia is not a dictator. Zambia is not a dictator. And Hakainde Hichilema, together with his friends, they are propagating this kind of messages. Whilst you Zambians are sitting here celebrating, dancing around, hey, independence, independence. Independence, independence. Marry that to that kind of propaganda. Marry your celebration to that kind of propaganda. Where does it leave you? Where does it leave you? Marry that to lack of employment. That propaganda, marry it to your lack of employment. Where does it leave you? Marry that your hunger, your hunger. Marry that to that kind of propaganda. When you're not employed, that propaganda, where does it put you? That propaganda, where does it put you as a Zambian? When you hear that propaganda being played on an international, Middle East and Africa, Zambia, end of the road, where does it put you as a Zambian? Where does it put you? You think investors will come to this country? They'll come to this country and invest so that you get jobs? And if you don't have a job, how can you eat? How can you have money? Hakainde Hichilema is a threat to our independence. Hakainde Hichilema is a threat to our independence because of that kind of propaganda. Number one. Number two, because Hakainde Hichilema has already sold this country. If you are worried of the debt that this country is in, you should be worried of the debt that Hakainde Hichilema is in. Because Hakainde Hichilema, we don't even know how much they have given him so far. In his campaigns, we don't know how much they have given Hakainde Hichilema. We don't know. We don't know. At least we know that so far we are owing, 9.3 billion. That's what we are owing. Hakainde Hichilema, do you know how much is owing those people that have been sponsoring him for 5 times that he has lost? Do you know how much he owes them? I mean, let's be realistic. You think that money came from Hakainde Hichilema? The money that he has been using, flying around, Amachopa, Yere Imakwat Fi Paso. You think that money came from Hakainde Hichilema? That money came from the Anglo-Americans, the Westerners, who want to come back to Zambia. They want to kick out the Chinese so that they can come and claim that influence. And as long as there is PF, as long as there is Edgar Lungu, there is no way the West will come and have that influence. They won't have it. Their trump card is Hakainde Hichilema. And that's why they are giving him so much money. That money they are giving him, that money you are seeing, those regalias, those Hiluxes you see, they are buying this country. They are buying this country. Hakainde Hichilema is selling this country. He's selling this country. Why is he selling this country? He wants power. He wants power. He wants power. Hakainde Hichilema wants power. And he's selling this country. Kavia Nkamweveni. I want him. Avike Pona Paliin. Let him add to the lawsuits that he has. Let him add even this one. I am saying Hakainde Hichilema is selling this country. This country is as good as sold because we don't know how much money Hakainde Hichilema has gotten from these people. And they want to make him president. Once he's president, then they can come and get back the money. Isn't that a threat on our independence? Munjebeko, isn't that a threat on our independence? If somebody has gotten so much money and he has to pay back if he becomes president, isn't that a threat to our independence? It is a threat. It is a threat. Because these people, they will not come and colonize us the way the British colonized us. They will come and colonize us economically. They will come and colonize us economically. That is what I'm talking about. That is why I came up with a theme to say, be patriotic and defend the economic sovereignty of this country. Because the economic sovereignty of this country is at risk. Is at risk because of the selfishness of Hakainde Hichilema wanting to become president of this country. And he's selling this country so that he can become president. Our independence is under threat, my dear brothers and sisters. It is under threat. Hakainde Hichilema is selling this country. We have to be careful. We have to stand up and fight for the economic sovereignty of this country. We have to say no to that propaganda. Don't aid that propaganda. Because some of you are being used. You are there. Oh, things are not okay. Oh, what? You heard in that clip. They are saying boho taxes. Which Hakainde Hichilema talks about. Let's be realistic. Is that levy which has been introduced on boho, is it a tax? Is it a tax? Or it is a contribution for a government officer to move from one point to the other, to come to where your farm is or where you want to put a boho? And you will check to see, is this okay? Can you drill here? Can you make a borehole here? If you don't pay for it, who is going to pay for it? If you want to drill a borehole, you are ready to pay 20,000 kwacha. And there is somebody who wants to come and inspect. Who do you want to come and inspect? Who do you want to come and pay for that cost of somebody who is moving from their offices to come and inspect? Who do you want to pay? Who do you want to pay? Who do you want to pay? It is in that clip, and Hakainde Hichilema talks about it. He talks about it. Borehole tax, borehole tax, borehole tax. Hakainde Hichilema, who is going to pay for somebody that is coming to inspect whether you should drill a borehole here or not? Who is going to pay for that? Are you going to pay for that? And it is not much. It is about 230 really. I don't think it's even enough. So, Zambians, can we be realistic? Can we be objective? Is that a tax borehole? Is that a tax borehole levy? Is it a tax? When somebody is coming to inspect where you should drill a borehole, is it a tax? In that clip, you hear they are talking about speed cameras. They are talking about speed cameras. Zambians, again, let us be realistic. Let us be objective. Why are those cameras coming in? Is it for government to levy you so that they can pay debt, as it is being suggested by Hakainde Hichilema and his propagandists? If you drive at a normal speed, at a regulated speed, will the government come and ask you to pay? Are you going to pay? Are you going to pay if you drive at a normal speed? Will the government ask you to pay? So how does you breaking the law turn into a tax? How does breaking a law turn into a tax? Hakainde Hichilema, he's a threat to this country. He's a threat. He's a threat to our independence because of this kind of propaganda. This man, he's under pressure, is desperate for power. He's desperate for power and is engaging in this kind of things. Number one threat that we have to our independence, to our economic sovereignty, is Hakainde Hichilema. And I'm putting my points. I'm not just mentioning this man without putting my points. I'm giving you my points why I am saying this. And if you want to challenge me, don't beat me up. Challenge me on these facts. Challenge me if Hakainde Hichilema does not say the borehole is a tax. Challenge me. And challenge me how government will raise money to send people to go and inspect. Challenge me how cameras have turned out to be tax. Crime, a fine, has turned out to be a tax. Tell me. Tell me. In that clip, you hear people talking about, Zambia is paying twice on the roads. I want to see that research. I want to see. Because the World Bank that they are mentioning, the World Bank are here. The World Bank are here giving us money. World Bank is here giving us money. World Bank is giving us money. World Bank has got a positive outlook on our country. If the World Bank thinks that we are corrupt, we are not doing well, why would World Bank be giving us money? They are here. They are here. They are giving us money. Even just a few weeks ago, they were giving us money. This is a fact. But that clip is talking as if World Bank has trashed us. The world out there is being told Zambia has been trashed by the World Bank. Zambia has been condemned as a the West corrupt country. Even that corruption that you talk about, some of us, we do research. We look at statistics. We want to look at facts. Even the corruption that you talk about, do you know that the corruption this year went down one notch? I think it was at 38. I think it has gone to 37, somewhere there. Okay? Not that there is no corruption. There is corruption. We're talking about 37, 38, somewhere there. It is a concern. We need to fight it. And I'm glad at least Edgar Lungu, this time around, we are seeing people being suspended. We are seeing people being fired. Didn't you hear of 13 people who were fired at the Ministry of Education? That was good. That was good. At least we are moving forward. And shouldn't I praise Edgar Lungu? Shouldn't I commend him for allowing some of the officers being suspended, some of the people being fired? Shouldn't I commend him? Do I need to be paid to say Balungu apamwa chitawino? Do I need to be paid? But to Hakainde Hichilema, there is no positivity. This country is the worst in the world. This country is the worst in the world. Surely, Zambians, is that how we are going to protect this country? Is that how we are going to celebrate the 54th independence anniversary? This man is a threat to our independence. Hakainde Hichilema is a threat to our independence. Is a threat. They say this country has turned into authoritarian. People are scared to talk, and yet you are busy insulting. Even here, you are busy typing. You are typing insults. You call Edgar Lungu Chakolwa. You do all sorts of things, and you say you are not able to speak. You're not able to speak. Pilato went out of the country, fearing, but he's in the country today. He's in the country. I mean, where is the peace? Which country is more peaceful than Zambia? Which country is more peaceful than Zambia, especially in Africa? Which country is more peaceful than Zambia? Which country is allowing people to express themselves than Zambia? Eh? What are we talking about? Come on, let's be realistic, people. Let's be realistic. Let's be objective. Let's put our country first. And here I'm not talking politics. I am talking as a patriot. I'm not even talking to campaign for myself. I'm not even campaigning for Edgar Lungu. I am talking as a patriot. We need to put our country first. We need to put our country first. So I think I've belabored to explain that what I mean by Edgar Lungu. HH is a threat to our independence, and the theme of this independence for me is be patriotic and fight for the economic sovereignty of this country, because if we don't, our country will be colonized economically through Hakainde Hichilema by the people that are giving money. It can happen. If Hakainde Hichilema becomes president, our country will be economically colonized by the people that are giving him money to campaign. I think I've made my point there. Let me take a sip on my coke and I tell you what is our political focus. Anyway, let's move to the political focus. I have discussed social problems, I've discussed economic problems, I've discussed political problems, I've discussed our threat. Where are we going politically? My brothers and sisters, this country is moving. This country is moving, and it has a promising future. A promising future. I tell you, can I hear somebody say amen? Because this country is headed to prosperity. Believe you me, this country is headed to prosperity. And this is based on some of the things that I've spoken about. By the fact that this country is a rich country. That this country has the confidence of the international community, of the investors. They have the confidence, and the evidence to that is that they are giving us money. The very money that people are saying that no, they are borrowing. They are borrowing us because they know we can pay. So this country is going forward. It's going forward. And we are identifying the threats of this country. And once we remove the threats of this country is headed somewhere. This country is going to be led by patriots. And I want you to be part of those patriots that will lead this country. I'm a patriot. And I want to lead this country. And that is where I'm basing myself to say this country is destined for prosperity. I'm not the only one. I know there are a lot of other patriots who will come in, but they are scared this time around to come in because we have got threats like Hakainde Hichilema, where when you say something, they drag you to court, they bring cadres to beat you up. But don't worry, my brothers and sisters, these people are going away. These threats are going away. Hakainde Hichilema is going away. So we are headed for prosperity. New leadership is coming in. New leadership is coming in. And 2021, from the way I see it, from where I stand, Edgar Lungu is likely to retain it. I am vying for presidency. But I want to be realistic. I want to be realistic and objective. At the moment, the only person that stands a better chance to scoop 2021 is Edgar Lungu. Because in as much as Hakainde Hichilema is trying to paint this country so bad, this country is not bad. This country is not so bad. And since it's not so bad, and Edgar Lungu does a good campaign, because the problem is that PF Navena, they're not so good in terms of, interacting with people and making people understand. They're not so good. But if they do well, definitely 2021 they will retain power. What about me? Am I going to stand or not? I will stand. I will stand. Definitely I will stand. But am I going to stand as a president? That is subject to how I will analyze things. If things continue as they are today, where I don't have resources, I will not stand as president, but I will stand for another position. Not under PF, but under Economic and Equity Party. So in 2021, I am definitely standing. Where I'm not just sure is, am I going to stand as president or I'm going to stand for another position? I want to be realistic to tell you that, it just doesn't happen like that. To become president, it just doesn't happen like that. And I don't want to be foolish or, egocentric, or selfish like some of these other politicians. I want to be realistic. For me, as long as I can save you, at the moment, I am saving you in what I do. And in 2021, I will make sure I find myself a position where I can save you. Where I can save you. I am going to stand. I want to be elected in 2021. The only issue is, will I stand as a president? Will I stand as an MP? Will I stand as a mayor? Will I stand as a councillor? Mind you, for me, I don't mind which position I save on. As long as I can save Zambians, I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem. So I will definitely stand, but I will stand at a position that I can manage at that time in terms of resources, because I don't want to sell this country. Me, I don't want to sell this country. I am not going to get money from outside for me to become president. I'm not going to do that. I'm a patriot. I'm a patriot. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to stand at a position which I can manage, so that I can serve the people. I don't mind even as a councillor. I don't mind, as long as I'm serving people. And eventually, as time goes, I will reach there at presidency. I will reach there. I will reach there. That I can assure you. I will reach there. But the emphasis, my preoccupation is not the position of presidency. My preoccupation is to serve the Zambian people. And I'm ready to serve the Zambian people at any point. Therefore, if I see that my chances of presidency are very slim, I'm not going to waste money. I'm not going to waste the people's time by putting myself on a ballot when I know I can't win. No, I'll have to put myself where I can win. Touch and go. Touch and go. The time I will come and stand as president, I'll go through. In the meantime, I am seeing where can I stand properly. But where we are now, I see Edgar Lungu with far much better chances. Far much better chances. And this is not coming because Nandi Pila. No, nothing. I don't even have money. I don't even have money. My wallet is somewhere here. I don't even have money. These are realities. Hakainde Hichilema is a threat. And as far as I'm concerned, I'll keep talking against Hakainde Hichilema unless he can change. Unless he can change. If he can change, well and good. I will agree with him. I can even support him. If he can change the way he is doing politics, not this propaganda he's doing, not these lies that is, spreading all over. There's no way I'm going to support Hakainde Hichilema. Nothing. Nothing. No matter how much you beat me, no matter where you take me, police, kwisa, there is no way I'm going to support Hakainde Hichilema. And I will never shut up. Because one thing that Hakainde Hichilema tries to do is to shut me up. I will never shut up. I will never shut up. He said himself, ati uyu mulomo uyu, nga uli mulumbwana, ati come and shut it. Nga uli mulumbwana, come and shut it. I'm not, for me, nothing. I don't even have to say that. I will not stop talking. As long as Hakainde Hichilema, I'll keep talking. I'll keep talking. And this is not just about HH. Na balungu nga balufyanya kuba ya moine. I don't have friends. I don't have friends at Shana, nothing. Some of you think that no, what PF, what? Forget it. I don't have that loyalty, that blind loyalty, that stupid loyalty, where something is wrong and you just keep quiet. I'll tell him off. I'll say it. Just a few weeks ago, some of you know, I was talking about New York trip. I spoke about the football match. Yesterday, they released a statement on Mary Chirwa, financial intelligence. Remember how I fought on financial intelligence? I fought ferociously on financial intelligence. And yesterday, Given Luwinda was taking the credit for it. He was taking the credit for it. That Zambia has been recognized. It is because of the good work that the financial intelligence is doing. And I supported them. When the PF guns rose against the financial intelligence, I was defending them. Because for me, I don't have favoritism. I speak my mind. And no one can tell me. Otherwise, telling me, I think I've spoken enough. And I think this is the longest that I've had. Anyway, you can understand because it is independence. I've made my points. And I'm summarizing by simply saying, repeating the theme, be patriotic and defend the economic sovereignty of this country. Hakainde Hichilema is a threat to the independence of this country. Make sure you watch out to make sure that we get rid of those risks. I think I'll end here. And I say congratulations to Mother Zambia. Let's drink to that. Enjoy yourselves. And may God bless you. Thank you very much. Cheers.